There are tons of business podcasts to choose from, but only one has the stamp of approval. Kristin Stampini is South Florida's leading real estate entrepreneur and your trusted source for everything real estate.
I would like to welcome my listeners and thank you for joining us today for another episode of my podcast, The Stamp of Approval. I'm Kristin Stampini, co-founder of the Stampini Platinum Real Estate Group with RE/MAX in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm also a certified real estate coach with Craig Proctor Systems and the owner of Global Virtual Real Estate Assistants. Today, I have my good friend, Michelle Balasari with me. Mm-hmm. And basically, what we're going to talk about, she's going to interview me because she's such a good friend. And, you know, as a lot of you know, I created and launched the Stamp of Approval a lot because of my background and what happened to me at 40 years old. Okay. Right. So Michelle is basically here and, you know, she's got Soboka. So definitely follow her, Soboka.
Thank you.
But she's going to interview me because she went through a lot of my, she saw my hardship. Okay.
Yeah.
And she saw it firsthand. So I just wanted to share my story. A few people have really reached out to me and said, you know what? Why don't you do a podcast and just let us know where you were? And the reason why I want to let you know is because I know so many of you out there listening today have been in the exact same place I've been. And, you know, I could have just, and I did, really. I mean, I wept and cried, and I can't tell you how many days that I didn't know if I really wanted to even really go on. And the thing is that I said to myself, you know what? There's more out there. I just have to find what I want to do. And so, you know, I did. I brushed myself off and I picked myself up. And guys, you know, when you work so hard your whole life and basically, you know, 18 years in the in the restaurant business, managing restaurants for 18 years. And then all of a sudden I just stopped. Okay. And I was managing,
right,
you know, restaurants such as Cheesecake Factories, California Pizza Kitchens, J. Alexander's at general manager level. Okay.
All the time. You were knee deep in that industry.
I was.
Tough industry.
It is a tough industry.
It's hard on people. It's hard on families. The hours are horrendous.
That's right.
You know,
and I didn't have
tough.
a family because of it. You know, I got married young.
Right.
And then I got divorced.
Right.
And then I stayed, you know, dating, should I say, because I moved 14 times in 10 years.
You're hard to date because you moved so much.
Well, and I didn't have kids because of it.
Yeah.
Right. Or anything else.
Right.
So at one time, you know, I said to myself, I just need to get out. I need to have stability in my life. Okay. And so I moved down to Florida, and the only person here that I knew was my mom.
Yeah.
And that's why I came. And my mom was in Pompano Beach. You know, God bless her.
Love your mom.
Seriously. And she's like, you know, and I moved in with her.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't.
And at what age?
40.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, 40. And I hadn't
living with your mom and a cat.
And I hadn't lived around my mom since I was 17.
Yeah.
When I went off to college.
Yeah, that's tough.
Okay. So it was tough.
Yeah.
And the thing was I worked so hard for so many years.
Right.
But now I had to just pick up and basically move to Florida and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
Right.
Okay.
Very typical at that age, by the way, where you have crossroads and then life events happen to make those crossroads even more challenging. And you finally made that decision to fix it.
Right.
Which is great.
And so what I did is obviously living a lifestyle, you know, spending quite a bit of money when I was managing and such, even though I was busy, you know, running the restaurants, I was also busy spending money, you know, and doing things and out, you know, having
fun.
Yep. Having a good time. So my lifestyle when I moved down here, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a couple of years. So I was waiting tables at Houston's restaurant.
There you go.
And knowing nobody again. And, you know, my mom's like, oh, yeah, get into the real estate business. And I'm like, oh, no. You know, I'm not a salesperson. Why real estate? And it's because she was. You know, she had a little bit, but she, you know, she never really went full force into real estate. But, you know, she dabbled a little bit in it.
Yeah.
And, anyway, so I said, okay. So I went and got my real estate license.
Right.
But I didn't take the test, the state test for an entire year. It was getting ready to expire.
Why not? Why did you wait so
Because I really
long?
didn't want to do it.
Well, that makes sense. I
didn't.
That.
I just felt like I didn't want to do it. But during that time, my bills were coming, strong. And I ended up having to, I was so far in debt because moving here and not being able to pick up and go and to continue to pay that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I ended up so much debt that I ended up having to claim bankruptcy.
No shame in that, by the way, people. It happens.
I remember when I saw you, it was at a women's council event. And
at a hotel in Palm Beach. Ironically.
That's right.
That was great. We had that conversation walking around a pool at a luxury hotel.
and I knew Michelle and everything, but we never really talked about something like this private.
Yeah, private. Very private.
And I opened up to her, and it was before I had claimed the bankruptcy. It was before I went through it. And I told her it was something that I was really seriously considering.
Right.
And, thank goodness she didn't judge me.
No.
She didn't judge me. But the thing is I couldn't get out of debt. Like it was drowning me every single month. I was going further and further under and I couldn't pull out.
It's the worst feeling.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I really didn't want to, but I said, okay, I'm going to start over. Okay. In my whole life, I'm going to start over in my life, in every aspect of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
So then I go and I get my real estate license, and boy, am I even more broke.
I know. It's freaking expensive.
Okay.
I realize that.
And then I didn't realize how I got my license. I thought, okay, I can just go out there and sell real estate. Woohoo. But guess what? I couldn't.
No.
Because guess what? I didn't know anything. So I had to go and take
that test
class.
doesn't teach you anything?
Oh my gosh. I thought that I would be able to go out there and just be able to, everybody would just want to hire me.
Yeah.
Oh no. Was I wrong? I was completely wrong. So I had to go and basically try to take classes and try to learn how to do actual real estate. And then I knew nobody. So, really didn't know anybody. I knew a couple people, but I didn't know anybody because I hadn't done any business here. So I had to go, and I literally, you want to talk about starting from ground zero? I didn't have relationships. I didn't go to school here. I'm not from here.
Right.
I didn't have any of that. So I had to literally, when you're starting about talking, number one, I didn't have any money. And number two, I didn't know anybody. So it wasn't like getting referrals, and it wasn't like people referring me because I didn't have those relationships.
Well, and also let me point out, it's 2018. We didn't have social media the way it is now.
That's right.
To brand yourself. It was really pretty old school stuff when you were getting into the business. And even when, I got my license in 2003, but Facebook didn't come on really till 2009. And even then people were not using it for business. There wasn't a business page. It was crazy. So you did this without the benefit of all of these new things that people are using today.
Right. I didn't have any of that. And the thing is I didn't have any money. So I didn't know, okay, so I had to figure out how I'm going to market and how I'm going to get people to want to hire me. And then how am I going to pay for it? So I was waiting tables. Literally, guys, I would go into Houston's on Friday and Saturday, work doubles.
I remember that.
Double shifts on both of those days, go in at whatever it was, I think 10:30 in the morning, and literally get out at 2:30 in the morning, and then go back the next day at 10:30 and get out at 2. So 14 hours, so 28 hours I would work those 2 days.
Crazy.
And then I would be working 1 or 2 days during the week as well. So, and then I would be working in real estate full time to make money, to figure out how to do it. So the biggest reason for this podcast episode today is to realize that you can start over.
Always.
Okay?
You can start over tomorrow.
That's right. 40, 50, whatever age it is.
Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
No.
And to be able to just believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? To surround yourself with the right people is huge.
I always say, find your tribe, love on them, have your handful of 5 people or less that you can trust. Their vaults. Kristin trusted me to tell me something that was highly personal, and you don't shame anyone when they're in that position. You're like, okay, so that's great. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do next? You want people that are going to raise you up and not, kick you when you're down.
That's right. That's right. And so she didn't have any judgment. And, most of the people that I shared with, fortunately, I pick and chose who I shared this with. And, I worked so hard for 18 years of my life to just have nothing. So that's just hard.
It's frustrating.
It really is.
It's discouraging. That's my husband uses that word very sparingly, but when he uses it, it's so powerful because it's discouraging when that happens.
It was. It really was. And then what I did is, staying at my mom's for a few months. And then I got this little place, and I know Lighthouse Point out of all places, but I got this little place, and it was like a little room. It was like 450 square feet.
Love it.
Off of a house, right? And I paid $600. It did not have a washer and dryer, so I had to go to laundromat. And I paid $600 a month for it.
Yeah,
is what I was paying. But that allowed me, remember 40. That allowed me to go ahead and start to save money and figure out this real estate craziness. Right. But I knew that I didn't want to work for anybody else. I knew that I wanted to not work as hard as I did for everybody else. And I knew that I wanted to grow myself in the real estate industry. And so that's where it started. And once I got my license, remember I waited a year, that was kind of crazy. And then I worked 2 jobs for 2 years. But then I went to an event, and it was a Keller Williams event. Remember we went to the family reunion?
Well, we went to everything.
Yeah, we did.
Do you remember? We would go to everything.
Well, because we needed the education.
Yeah, we needed real life education and to figure out like how to make money in this business and not lose our minds.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, then we went to I went to a family reunion with Keller Williams, and I saw Craig Proctor there.
Oh, that's right.
And so I went and saw Craig, and it was just one of the classes that they offered.
Right.
And I said, okay, well, let me just go see it. And I just felt a connection with him. And I thought, man, this guy's real. And I knew that he was with RE/MAX, and I knew that he was one of the top realtors worldwide, but I could tell he was real, and that he wasn't like out for just taking people's money. And he was a coach. And so I listened to all the stories of the people and such, and I thought, wow, he just resonated with me. You know how when you have that feeling?
He was the real deal.
He was.
Yeah. And it's what you needed at that time.
Yep.
And that's how that sort of thing works. Had you gone another time, it may not have resonated the same way, because it's all about the timing and what's going on in your life. And besides the fact, I think he's Canadian, so he's a good guy.
Canadian. So then, and for many years he was number 1 worldwide with RE/MAX, and so I just felt. But the thing is, I didn't have the money to go to his 3-day, which was like $495. I didn't have the money to do it.
Can you imagine $495?
I
pay that all day long now.
Oh, me too.
But I can't find anything now like that.
But I couldn't even go to it.
Exactly.
So I had to wait, and I waited literally. I think the family reunions in February, and he was coming to Orlando in like whatever it was, May, and I couldn't afford it.
Yes.
So then I waited until like the next October or November, and I stayed at my brother's, in Irvine, because it was in California.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
So I stayed with my brothers, and I made it as cheap as possible just so I could get there.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got there. And now I watch his 3-day, and I'm learning all this stuff in real estate and how to help clients and how to get clients and how to stick out from everybody else and how to market and just all sorts of really, really good information that I could take back with me. And so I did sign up for his coaching system. And basically that's where it all started.
Right. I remember.
Yep.
And I remember, Kristin, was very focused. We talk about focus a lot, her and I. When she's determined to, achieve a goal, set a goal, get something done, accomplish something, she really does focus on that end game. And, remember, like, things don't happen overnight. Mm-mm. You have to plant the seeds to grow the garden to harvest.
That's right.
And you do that so well. And you take your experience of what you went through, and by sharing it like you are today, it's invaluable to someone who's listening, who's thinking, I can't believe this is happening to me. I think that's the thing that people say in their hearts, I can't believe this is happening to me. Mm-hmm. And I certainly went to Kristin when I was going through a very difficult time. I'm like, I can't believe I'm in this position. How is this happening? And, because of what she went through, she was able to have some insight. And it's good to have someone like that.
That's right.
That you can actually go to and say, okay. And I always say this, thank God for Kristin. And smart women that I was able to talk to get through what I was going through with sound advice, business advice in particular, that made sense. And I'll never forget, you said to me, go list.
Right. And because, you were kind of going through similar, starting
stuff.
over
Yeah.
at a little bit later than even I was.
At 50?
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
And she comes to me and I'm like, get your butt out there, brush yourself off and get going. It's time to get to
Yeah, she
work.
goes, enough of the pity party. I'm like, you're right. You're right. She's like, but go list.
Yeah.
Because in my case, I was very, very tired, and running around with buyers was just a horrible fit for me at that time.
Right.
And I had done that very exclusively because I like niches.
And you're so good at it.
And I'm a mom, so I just tell it how it is.
Right.
They don't like it.
Yeah, but you're good at it.
Thank you. I
And they
appreciate
trust
that.
you.
I appreciate that.
And that's real estate they need to trust.
Yeah.
So getting back to, Craig Proctor and getting into that, so I figured out my niche, okay? And that was the big thing. And what took me from there is Craig really taught me on, how to do that and then market.
Right.
So mine was short sales because other agents didn't want to do them.
No.
At that time, it was the time of crisis. But the big thing is I had just gone through such a hardship in my life.
You
okay?
were relatable.
I was relatable. And so I could sit down and cry with these people.
Exactly.
And they trusted me. And so I was, just about every single person I was talking to that had a possible short sale, I think I was listing 98% of every single person I was talking to because they trusted me and they knew I cared. They knew I cared about their lives.
You're sincere about it because you'd already gone through some difficult things.
That's right. That's
and
right.
I understood that.
So that's where it started.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I took that as the short sales and really, building the business from that. And people could tell I cared. And I made sure I educated myself and really knew what I was doing out there and everything else. And then basically getting into, and then, obviously coaching with Craig. And then Craig saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Okay. And he asked me to coach for him and, to be one of his coaches. And I was like, really?
Because you're natural at it.
But I didn't know.
I know.
But
we all saw that.
Yeah, but I didn't.
I know.
I didn't. And the thing is he really wanted me to coach to start the coaching on short sales because he didn't have that. And he would bring me up on stage. Mm-hmm. And because he saw that I was a good speaker and that I was able to tell a story. And I never saw any of that. I remember I would go up on stage all the time and I'd be shaking and I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Really. And that's really where it started today. And then been able to, build from there. Definitely working hard, surrounding myself with the right people. Creating a good culture, a good team culture. So, that our real estate team and,
right.
Gone through struggles just like many have out there, with the real estate team. But then always growing and learning and getting better, taking care of the clients and the customers, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
And then going from there to building other businesses and, to being able to take really what I learned from the restaurant business, because I had to look at, P&Ls every day. And I'd go into restaurants that weren't doing so well and looking at where their struggles were and, helping them out and things like that.
Yeah.
So
you know your numbers.
I do.
She knows her numbers, guys.
And the thing is to be a really, really strong agent, there's a few things in common. And one of them is knowing their numbers. Mm-hmm, okay.
Exactly.
The top agents. So it was able to build my other businesses from it. And, 10 years later,
wow,
here I am.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Thriving and adding a new layer to your business with your virtual assistant business, which is fantastic because you were one of the first people that I knew in real estate that actually did hire a VA, virtual assistant. So do you want to talk a little bit about
bit, basically because I didn't have a lot of money. Right. To get it. So I had to be creative. And how was that? Because my business was getting too busy for me, mm-hmm. but it wasn't because I was having to put it back into the business. Because, business owners, when they first start, and I was never a business owner before, so I didn't know how to own a business.
Because you worked for businesses.
Right. So I just knew that I was spending pretty much as fast as I was making it because I was having to invest it back into the business to grow. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't really afford, assistance and anything else. And so I was like, how can I get somebody who's just as good as somebody I could pay, $40,000 to locally. How can I get that person, but I can't afford that person?
Right, exactly.
And that's where it came into really the virtual assistants. And then, we also train inside sales agents, which are the people that call buyers and sellers and make appointments, and we train other people's virtual assistants. Now, we just train him for Craig Proctor right now, in the system.
Right.
Just because of his, scripts and things like that we can't
Right.
share.
It's exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive, exactly. But, we train those and be very successful at that. And then now, which is so awesome, is our investment business. I never, ever in a million years thought that I would be buying properties that I didn't have a mortgage on. Multiples.
That's amazing.
So building our, we just bought one last month,
Right,
In,
up
in Tennessee. First one out of state, first one out of Florida. And the thing is we bought I bought it with a self-directed IRA that we've been saving, okay? And we're Airbnb-ing it. And, just in our first month, we made like $4,000.
That's amazing.
This month, and this is the slowest time of the year.
Right.
So we're getting ready to buy another one. Okay.
That's fantastic.
But being able to do that, not having mortgages on properties and things, I never in a million years dreamed of this, ever. So, here today and really, why I really wanted to talk about it is because so many people are reaching out to me, and they're reaching out to me to ask, hey, can you go into your story a little bit more? But it's more so they can relate. They can relate.
Yeah. And it's inspiring, and people need inspiration, especially real estate agents need inspiration because the highs are so high, the lows are so low. I always say, look, there's always this level of anxiety and depression that goes along with this industry because the highs are so high and so low. And, what you've been able to accomplish by pivoting, turning around, saying, look, I got to fix this other problem. Okay, I'm fixing it. Now what do I need to do? I think it's remarkable what you've done.
Thank you. The way, I've done it, honestly, is I've had many, many sleepless nights crying myself to sleep. And I still do sometimes, just because it's tough.
It's tough. It's stressful. It's overwhelming.
Right.
Even when you're successful, I always say you can see things on social media, but there's humans behind that. And things happen in our lives, in our families. And yes, we may outwardly look like we have perfect lives, but when you have stress, whether it's good or bad stress, it will keep you up at night.
Well, and social media, just like that's a good point, because social media looks at all the great things out there because
Perfect.
people don't share everything else, right? And for me, a lot of people, because I did share it openly, I went through 10 surgeries in the last 2 years.
Oh my gosh, your teeth.
By
the way, guys, she would send me these pictures.
Yeah.
I get a text message and it'd be Kristin's teeth.
Yes. And so I had to have implants, I had bone loss and I had to go. But you know what? The thing is, because of the real estate business and what I was able to do, number one, I was able to afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because implants.
Just one good hit and you're like, psh.
Yeah. So I was able to afford it. But number two is I was able to take the time off I needed.
To have it done.
Yeah. You know?
That's one of the nice things about this industry. I mean, you can make as much money or as little money as you want. And you can really turn your business around fairly quickly if you're in a slump. I talked to somebody the other day and I'm like, dude, you've got till midnight. That pity party's over. Let's move on. Paying it forward a little bit here.
That's right.
And you do that.
Well, and giving back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, giving back is huge. I was never, ever, ever able to give any money back because I didn't have it for so long. So now, every year, giving a lot of money and a lot of things and a lot of time. I give my time to a lot of different people. And, I give back a lot.
You do.
Okay.
And I've always said that. I'm like, you give back way more than most realtors that I know in regard to. Here's the thing. If you ask Kristin a question, you better damn well be prepared for what she's going to say, whether you like it or not, because she will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And she'll be like, what are you going to do that for? Okay.
Yeah, I am definitely honest and direct.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's what you want. You want that. You don't want someone who's going to sit there and go, no, No.
But my big why in life of why I wake up every day, and it's changed over the years. And today is to really help others achieve their goals.
Right.
Okay, because I will always achieve mine if I help others achieve theirs.
Always.
And what I mean by that is from giving back, to local charities and charities across the country and in different countries. It's helping realtors. Okay, it's giving back to just people. It's giving back to my family or whoever else.
Exactly.
Okay, and I just always remember that I was there and I was in a really dark and ugly place. And so really the reason why I launched this podcast is so I could share with all of you to hopefully educate you as well
Right.
in the real estate industry, not just the consumers and everybody else, but also really the realtors. And to let you know that you can all go ahead and just focus time management and different things and just educate yourself.
Exactly. I think you're doing a great job. And I think the podcast is fantastic.
Well, thank you.
And I listen to a lot of podcasts, not all real estate related. And I think what you're bringing is invaluable information at a very good time, because as we know, the market is shifting just a little bit.
No, it is.
A little scary for some folks. And so I think when you say, listen, here's what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. Here's my story. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's really what this is about.
Well, and that's a good point, because the market is starting to shift a little bit, and what happens with the
A little
realtors.
bit.
Just a little. And we talked about that
Yeah.
earlier on the podcast. I've
Yeah.
talked a few times about it, and it is just a little. And we said, to the buyers and sellers, don't be scared at all.
No.
Who is a little bit more nervous is realtors, okay? And you don't either. But just go out there and educate. And,
Yeah.
if you're in a bad place, it's okay. We've all been there,
Yeah.
most of us
Yeah.
at least.
Exactly.
And just always believe in yourself. And that's my takeaway from today. Just
I love
believe
that.
in
That's
yourself.
the perfect takeaway and a great way to end this session.
Yeah, and thank you, my dear friend Michelle, and to all the
My
listeners, thank
pleasure.
you.
Anytime.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.